let's see what happens. Oh, and it falls down. That's great. Now let's see. Can we go down here? What kind of view does that give? Okay. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Ooh, not good. Put some in there. Whoa. Alrighty. I wonder if I need to open that beater. Alright, who's all here today? Hey. Is anybody checking in? Let me grab this. Anyway, today we're working on believe it or not, today we're going to work on reliability issues with this car. I know it sounds dumb, but hey, it's Ashley's here. How you doing, Ashley? Thanks for checking in. So I don't know if I mentioned it in the last live, but we're going to work on reliability. I don't know if you guys noticed over here. I'm going to let me flip this around. I'll show you what I mean. So before I took the factory overflow off, and I had a catch can over here, and I had a rinky-dink hose rigged up. What was dumb was when this thing would pop off, it would push the hot fluid out, which is what you want. But then when it cooled off, it wouldn't allow it to come back in. So I was able, factory overflow bottle that bolts in. So now I can fill this. I can put into there the level that's in there that it recommends, and then it doesn't evaporate out of the system or leave the system. What it'll do, it'll pop off like it's supposed to do. But then also it's supposed to, when it cools off, it's supposed to, the radiator cap is supposed to create a vacuum, and it can suck the fluid back into the radiator so you're at the correct level. So, and he's back. Oh, Levi, yeah. So, the reason I was thinking of doing that is what ends up happening is in later check things like coolant level and everything else. You have just bare enough time to make sure enough fuel in the car. When they start, like after round 4, they go round robin, which means you can't stop. As soon as you make the pass, you're right back up to the staging lanes. Well, the problem now is with the other way I had it, I would have had to, now you have a hot engine, and anybody that knows anything knows you can't open this radiator cap when the thing's at temperature. You'll basically get like 2nd-degree burns in your hands, arms, and face possibly. So what I decided to do was nix what I have and put original equipment, in this case a used overflow bottle from another 4th Gen Camaro, bolted it in there and have it in. Now what I can do is I can put in there, I can put the coolant in here to the right level, and then what I can do, I can just fill it and forget it. It'll take care of itself. As long as I check the level with this measure, I'm fine. So that's kind of the thing. If just something to make the car that it's kind of more maintenance free. So that's kind of what I'm working on here is trying to get this car maintenance free, if that makes sense. I mean, we're still after horsepower, we still, you know, that stuff, but we also have to make a car that's not stressful and cumbersome in the later rounds. So that should be, we'll make sure this doesn't have a hole in it since it is used. I think we're pretty good. So I'm going to put the top back on. And then we're just going to run the car. It's going to, after we run it, it's the level will, it will sort itself out. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in. So, and yeah, I did clean it up a little bit. It's a little shiny because I'm one of those simple type of guys that shiny makes you happy. So, we're having it clean. But I did find this book I had laying around. This is an old book, but it explains electronic fuel injection, also how to, wow, it got windy all of a sudden. Also explains fuel tables, air fuel ratio mixtures, lambda, whatever. It's something with the fuel and air fuel ratio relationship with that. So there's going to be some reading in my future, and I can possibly start assembling a fuel table that'll be ideal for this. So I don't know if you saw in yesterday's live, I had the laptop up. I was playing around a little with it. I learned a little bit more last night. I actually did make some changes. I changed the fuel prime from 5 seconds to 9.5 seconds. So I'm hoping that helps with startup a little easy, make startup a little easier. I did cut back. I did lean out the idle low speed air fuel mixture. However, I want to look at the mid range. I might want to fatten that up, richen it up a little bit there. And then I have to look at wide open throttle. I think wide open throttle is a little too rich right now. It's at 12.5, which for naturally aspirated, I think might be a little too rich for wide open throttle. I have to look, like I said, I want to look at some fuel tables that are in there and go off of that. But I do think he has mid-range at 14.0, and that seems to me might be a little bit on the lean side. I might want to go to like a 13.7, 13.6 air fuel ratio on mid-range. So I may do that. I don't know yet. I don't know if I'll have time today, but we'll see if I get to it. I'm gonna try starting it with the program I have in it now with the leaned out idle mixture, but the longer prime. So I'll see how that is and go from there. Yeah. So I'm kind of anxious. I want to keep looking around. I want to see what else I can come up with to make this car more trouble-free as far as anything that I did. Like I said, with the cooling system, I also want to get if I can get a higher pressure radiator cap to help for next year when we're racing in the heat. So yes, that's basically what we did. You know, we have the injectors. We don't have a leak. We have it working pretty good. Just cleaning up some stuff. I want to mount some of the relays maybe on the firewall. I have to just tidy some stuff up here, but it's all in all not bad. I may You know what? Now that I think of it, I could put a mount. Now that I think of it, sorry. Hey, Shuggy. I'm going to have to bring you up to speed here. Let me check some. I just had a thunk. I call it a thunk. Because then usually later I'll reconfigure it. I think I have what I need here. Aha! Ha ha ha! This could work. And then I can mount that wire there. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. If I can, it won't. Do I have to turn it? Maybe the hole's a little too small. I may have to use a hammer. Then I can put a mount for those wires that come across. I can mount that so it doesn't shake around.
Yeah!
While the...
It's even windier when we finally bring something out.
Oh boy.
Great.
So, Sharon's here. Her name's Jetta. She's all nuts with the wind. Anyway, all right. So people that just came, I'll explain what we're doing. Let me flip this around so you guys can see. Jetta, what are you doing? Crazy. Hey, don't wreck my chair with the chain. Come on now. Yeah, you don't want to hear it? Okay. Anyway, so I got rid of, where the heck is it? Oh, it's out here. Jetta, let me get out here. So, let me turn this off. It's here. Oh, it goes the other way. So, basically, I got rid of this couch can because, obvious reasons. I'm going to set it down here. So, yeah, thanks for rolling back. Pain in the arse. So, I had it mounted here. That's why there's that hole there, which I'm going to use to mount this wire onto. But it was mounted there, and then I just had a hose running like this. And then I just had a hose sticking in the top. The problem was when this would get hot, you know, it would do its thing like it's supposed to. It would blow it in. But then when it gets cold, it would just sit there. It wouldn't let the cap open up to suck the water back in. So this was all, I always was filling this even in between rounds. And I was explaining that even when like later rounds, like usually around the quarters, they start running your round robin, so you can't stop at the trailer, so you don't have time to pop off a hot radiator cap, which you shouldn't be opening anyway when it's at operating temperature, and then put water in. You don't have time. So I was able to get an original one, overflow with the fill, but then also allows that the cap can do its job, that it can suck the water back into the radiator, so it's going to keep your level at the correct level, but also help keep it cool. So I went ahead and I converted everything back to the original setup with the catch, with the overflow bottle and all that stuff. So why is this not working right? This, now it's going to fall forward. What in the world is this thing doing? Ay, ay, ay. I got to put, what if I put a, I'm always having problems with my cameras. It's like ridiculous. That might work. So that's what the idea was to change it back to the original equipment with the overflow. So it's one less thing I have to, we have, so it's one less thing I need to worry about with in between the rounds of keeping the race car maintained. It's something that now, once I get the level right, it's going to take care of itself. I don't have to worry about it. I just have to watch my fuel and oil. That's it. And oil, you're just watching oil pressure. So the only thing you got to make sure you have in the car if you're going round robin is you have fuel in it. That's it. So more trouble-free racing, which is kind of where we're going now, since we have an idea. Like I said, I've been reading up on fuel injection, and there are tables, tuning tables in that book. So I'm trying to learn that. not figured out, but maybe have a better handle on understanding it, so I can put a fuel table together that this thing is going to be happy with. So I did mess some stuff up. I did mess around with some stuff last night. I changed the fuel pump prime. I changed the air fuel ratio for the idle area. So I kind of took some fuel out. Now the only thing I'm not 100% on is the mid-range. I think the range right now is a little on the lean side, so I want to fatten it up a little bit on that. And wide open throttle might be a little fat, but I have to see. Wide open throttle is at 12.5. I'm thinking we should be maybe 12.8. I don't know. I may just leave it at 12.5 just to keep it a little fat. I'd rather have it fatter than too lean. When you're lean, that's when you burn up parts because your temperatures get too high and you start melting stuff. The only thing with it being on the fat side is you lose some ET, but you gain mile an hour. So we'll see. I just may leave that alone. And like I said, I may make some adjustment to the mid-range. And then once I get it to the point where I can run it and actually watch in live time where it's at mixture-wise, and then I can adjust as the car is running. And go from there. So I'm trying to learn that. It's a bit of a thing to wrap this old brain around new stuff, but that's kind of what we want to do. So just a quick update. Hopefully makes the car a little less troublesome by putting the original catch can for the coolant back on. Like I said, still learning the whole using the laptop thing, so I'm working on that and trying to learn a few things. So yeah. Oh, with the fuel pressure gauge, we now have the fuel pressure set where it needs to be, is between 60 and 62 psi, which is where we would like to have the fuel system operating at. So I was able to dial in the fuel system. We have that dialed in, and like I said, dialed in the fuel prime. Now it's just getting the air fuel mixtures where they need to be. It seems like now with the injectors that don't leak, she idles pretty darn good. For a race car, I'm pretty impressed. So that's, a step in the right direction. So far, things are looking good. Like I said, I want to fatten up the mid-range yet. I like to do that yet. And then we're just going to have to give the car a good one. Oh, that's right. I got to get a bolt for my safety harness. For some reason, my lap belt on the left side, the anchor bolt keeps falling out. I don't know if it's stripped, if it's not long enough, something changed. So I got to get a bolt for that, whether I get a bolt that matches the thread or I just get a bolt with a lock nut or what I do there. But I got to do that before Sunday, so that way my safety harness stays in place. Because God forbid you get in an accident and actually need to have to use them. But it'd be better if I'd rather have it 100% and not need it than have it hanging there and then need it and have something happen. So I got to do that this week. Is get a bolt for that. Also, we got these doohickeys in. This is going to be after Sunday. This is going to be a winter project, but still important to have nonetheless. Good idea. So I got these for their wiring junctions. We're going to use this one because we're going to run a whole new ground on the car. So we're going to run this up front somewhere, and then we're going to tie in. We're going to add at least probably 2 or 3 ground straps to the car, and we're going to be utilizing this because we're going to run our main ground to this, and then we're going to be able to branch off. I want to branch off one to the starter, one to the transmission bell housing, and the other one might go to the actual engine block yet. I don't know yet, but we're going to be running at least 3 grounds, extra grounds, to make sure that everything's grounded. We don't have any dirty power going for the ECU or the sensors, and just it might help it's also going to help too because they're going to rewire the tail lights, rewire the headlights to make sure they all work next year. Nothing I think is more cool than have a car that runs super, super quick, but then when it gets to the late rounds at night, all the lights work. You know, like it was a street car. I think that's awesome. So that's kind of my goal for next year is get all the lights working the way they should on this car. So yeah, and that shouldn't be too hard because the turn signals work. The headlights are kind of iffy, so we might just utilize more of these. You know, run a power, and then branch off, or and do the same thing with the ground, and then the tail lights, the same thing. So we'll see about that. But that's over the winter. The big thing is getting that starter to spin faster, and I really think there's a ground issue with this car. So we're going to address that, but we don't really need to worry about that for the 19th. We just want to get it dialed in, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to do that. I think our biggest downfall is going to be, I'm hearing rumors about rain on the 19th. I'm hoping they're not true, but if they are, then I guess it's the only weekend that everybody has available anymore this year. So if we can't do it, we're going to be done for the year, which kind of sucks. But we're going to try and stay positive. We're going to figure on the weather being good and that we can go Sunday and get at least, I like to see 3 passes out of this car Sunday. And good clean passes, consistent times. Is there going to be stuff we're going to learn? Are we going to discover more weak links in the chain? More likely. But Lord knows, we have found a ton of weak links in this since the last time we had it out. Let's see what all I don't even want to think about what all we did to this car since the last time. It started off as the alternator wire being too small, so we put a 4-gauge wire on that. Then we found out, for some reason, we fried the injector driver and the other ECU. So now we had to put a whole new Terminator X ECU in it, which was good because you can't get any tuning software for that specific ECU. So we put a more modern ECU in it. So now I have software on my laptop that I can go in there and play around and make adjustments to the car. I did not have that luxury before. Now I do. The other issue was the fuel. So now we have 36-pound injectors in there. Real nice name brand Excel fuel injectors that don't leak, that are flow evenly through all 8 injectors. You don't have any variance in flow rates. Everything's even. Everything's good. That's why I think the car runs as good as it does right now. So, plus all the wiring we had to do and fix. And there's other countless things that now with the coolant overflow. So you can see how, it's been how many weeks since we had the car at the track. I admit it. But it hasn't been because we've been lazy. We've been trying to figure out the problems, figure out the weakest links of the chain, fix those things, which we've been trying to do, slowly getting there. So really hoping we can make it out next week, get this thing to the track, and hopefully this thing actually has a really good showing and that there are no major weak links and that the car runs good and that we're able to get some good data on this car and hopefully next year be able to come out swinging for the bleachers and hopefully almost get there and hopefully it's only just a matter of wiring up lights, which would be fine. I'd be totally okay with that. But let's wait and see what the car does. But I'm feeling pretty good about it, but at the same time, I get worried when I start feeling good about something bad's about to happen. So I'm cautiously optimistic about the car and how it's going to do. Time will tell. I know I've talked with Nate about wiring in some fail-safes for the electric water pump and the electric fan in case I'd forget to turn them on. All right, thank you. If I would forget to turn the water pump on, he can wire up that the water pump gets turned on automatically by the Terminator system. He can do the same thing with the electric fan. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe doing that over the winter as well. Since he said the wiring is already there, all you have to do is wire a jumper wire from that to the actual Terminator ECU. So that's probably something we're going to look at, as well as wiring in some fail safes. That way the car even more becomes fail safe. So all things that are in the works. And knowing him, he might even do that this weekend. Who knows? But we'll wait and see what happens. It's really not on my radar for Sunday. Getting this fuel table figured out and getting everything downloaded and getting everything set up is. So that's what we're going to be working on this week, is getting ready for Sunday, trying to get out there, and hopefully the weather cooperates. And hopefully we just have a good time out. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do any lives that day. Probably not. Because of the fact of just being, well, maybe I can. I'll have to see how the day goes. It depends how hectic things are. If I have time to throw up a live while we're at the track. If not, I'm definitely going to have footage. I will be putting a video out of, different things of that day. I'm pretty sure Lloyd's going, so I should be able to get footage of the car leaving the line. And let's hope that car leaves on 2 wheels and not 4. We'll see. I'm starting to think with the fuel system and everything set up, it should leave on 2 wheels, but we'll see what happens. Never know. So, all right, I'm babbling on. I got to get back to reading my book and figuring out some stuff. So, hopefully tomorrow I'll have some more news for you. Yeah. That's it. So till next time, we'll watch out for each other, take care of each other, and I'm going to add something new. We're going to start a new term or motto for next year. I don't know how many people watch Cletus McFarland. He does the Do It for Dale. Well, because of my dad, him passing, but him giving me the love of cars and racing, we're going to call it Do It for Hank. So let's go, Biggies. We're gonna. What do you need?
Don't want them.
Oh, okay. Woo! It's a keyboard. Is it? I don't know. It's some kind of a musical thing. I can play music later. All right, from Biggies. Watch out for each other. Take care of each other, and we'll see you next time. And Do It for Hank. We'll see you later.